Tony Romo is definitely one of the best Cowboys of all time. He's not going to have the rings of Troy Aikman or even Roger Staubach, but he deserves to be in the conversation of greatest Cowboys.
Over the head of Romo, and now it's a foot race. Romo can't get on top of it. Finally does. Will try and make something happen.
Tony Romo is one of the great misunderstood players of NFL history.
Tony Romo cut a deal with the devil or something, right? To go from small school, undrafted quarterback to face of America's team.
A boy from a working-class town in Wisconsin, tossing a worn football under a twilight sky, imagining cheers from crowds he couldn't yet see. Fast forward 2 decades, and that same boy, now a man, is standing in a broadcast booth, not just calling NFL games, but predicting plays before they even unfold. That boy was Tony Romo. And this is not just a story of football, it's a story of heartbreak, resilience, reinvention, and a legacy written beyond the stat sheet. Most people think they know Tony Romo. Some remember him as the Dallas Cowboys quarterback who couldn't win the big one. Others see him now, sharp-suited, smiling, sitting beside Jim Nance as the voice of Sundays. But that's the highlight reel. The full story? That's where the heart is. Tony was born in San Diego in 1980 while his father, Ramiro, served in the Navy. When the family moved back to Burlington, Wisconsin, Tony's life became the quintessential small-town American story. His dad picked up construction work. His mom, Joan, worked at a grocery store. Money was tight, but what the Romo household lacked in resources, they made up for in belief. Burlington was no football factory. High school glory was about all a kid could hope for, but Tony wasn't wired for ceilings. He wasn't the most gifted athlete, just over 6 feet tall, not particularly fast or strong. But his mind? That was the difference. He saw the game like a chess master. Where most kids reacted, he anticipated. Coaches noticed his ability to diagnose defenses before the snap. It wasn't flashy, it was brilliant. Still, college recruiters weren't impressed. Big programs looked elsewhere. Wisconsin barely acknowledged him. The Power 5 doors stayed closed. But then came Eastern Illinois University, a small school, small stage. But to Tony, it was a lifeline. He took it with no hesitation. At Eastern Illinois, Romo didn't just play, he dominated. Over 4 seasons, he threw for 8,212 yards and 85 touchdowns. He became a 3-time All-Ohio Valley Conference selection and won the 2002 Walter Payton Award, given to the best player in FCS football. He rewrote the school's record books, bringing national attention to a program that lived in the shadows. And still, it wasn't enough. The 2003 NFL Draft came and went. 7 rounds, 32 teams, 253 players. No one called Tony Romo, not even to take a flyer on him in the final round. It was one of the lowest moments of his life. He had the numbers. He had the vision. But in the NFL's eyes, he was invisible. But Romo's story has always been about the rebound. The Dallas Cowboys, led by owner Jerry Jones and head coach Bill Parcells, invited him to camp as an undrafted free agent. The contract? Bare bones. The odds? Nearly impossible. But Tony took it anyway. Not because he believed he'd be great, but because he refused to give up on the dream. For 3 years, he was invisible again, buried on the depth chart behind veterans like Quincy Carter, Drew Henson, and Drew Bledsoe. He didn't see the field, didn't take a single snap in a regular season game. But behind the scenes, he was grinding, studying defenses, mimicking mechanics, learning from failure. He was turning himself into something no one saw coming. Then came October 23rd, 2006. The Cowboys trailed the Giants, and Drew Bledsoe was struggling. Parcells made a decision that would change the trajectory of the franchise. He inserted Tony Romo. It was a messy debut, interceptions, nerves, flashes of brilliance. But something clicked. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Romo brought movement, energy, creativity. things the Cowboys' offense desperately lacked. By week 8, Romo was the full-time starter. His first season, electric. He threw for 2,903 yards and 19 touchdowns in just 10 starts, earning a Pro Bowl selection. But more than that, he brought hope back to Dallas. Hope that maybe, just maybe, the drought was ending. The 2007 season was Romo's breakout. 4,211 yards, 36 touchdowns, another Pro Bowl, a 13-3 record, the Cowboys' best in over a decade. He connected effortlessly with receivers like Terrell Owens and tight end Jason Witten, turning broken plays into brilliance. He played with a style that reminded fans of Brett Favre, gunslinging, improvisational, fearless. But then came the playoffs. The divisional round against the Giants, the final drive, the interception, another early exit, and with it, the start of a narrative that would haunt Romo for years. He couldn't win when it mattered. The truth. Playoff heartbreak became a recurring theme. 2009 saw a wild card win, his first and only postseason victory, but a blowout loss to the Vikings followed. Then 2014. Romo had one of his finest seasons. 3,705 yards, 34 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions, and the league's highest passer rating at 113.2. The Cowboys went 12-4. They had momentum. Then came Green Bay, the Dez caught it game. A controversial reversal on what appeared to be a game-changing catch from Dez Bryant crushed the Cowboys' hopes, and Romo's legacy took another hit. By then, critics had made up their minds. He was Mr. December Great in the regular season, missing in action when it mattered. But what they missed was the full body of work. Romo ended his career with 34,183 passing yards, 248 touchdowns, and a 97.1 passer rating, at the time, the 4th highest in league history. He held Cowboys records for most career touchdown passes, most games with 3 or more touchdown passes, and highest completion percentage. Statistically, he stood shoulder to shoulder with the greats. But the numbers weren't the whole story. It was the pain, the broken ribs, the collapsed lung, the punctured lung against San Francisco in 2011, where he came back mid-game and led a comeback win, the fractured vertebrae in 2014, and again in 2016. Each time, he came back. Each time, he fought. But the body can only take so much. In 2016, a preseason injury opened the door for rookie Dak Prescott. Prescott seized the opportunity, leading Dallas to a 13-3 record. When Romo healed, he didn't demand his job back. He didn't create controversy. Instead, he stood in front of the media, praised Dak's leadership, and offered his support. It was one of the most selfless, dignified moments in NFL history. In April 2017, Tony Romo announced his retirement. The press conference was emotional. No bitterness, just gratitude. He thanked his teammates, coaches, and fans who stood by him through the highs and crushing lows. But this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Romo joined CBS Sports as the lead color analyst for NFL broadcasts. Expectations were modest. What followed was revolutionary. His debut was a revelation. He didn't just analyze. He transported viewers into the quarterback's mind. He predicted plays. He called out coverages. He explained why a pass worked or failed before the replay even aired. It was unprecedented. Fans were hooked. He turned every Sunday into a classroom. Even casual viewers found themselves understanding football on a deeper level. His commentary wasn't just insightful, it was joyful, playful, human. Tony Romo, once criticized for his decision-making, became the voice helping millions make sense of football. He received 3 Emmy nominations, and CBS locked him down with a 10-year, $180 million contract, the richest in sports broadcasting history. The undrafted kid from Eastern Illinois had become the highest-paid analyst in the game. And that wasn't all. Off the gridiron, Romo pursued golf passionately. He competed in US Open qualifiers, teed it up at PGA Tour events, and though he didn't make a cut, his discipline and passion were undeniable. More importantly, he remained connected to the game he loved, not through throwing touchdowns, but through storytelling. Today, when Tony Romo steps into the booth, there's a reverence. He's not just a broadcaster, he's a bridge between the game's past, present, and future. He helps fans understand what they're watching and why it matters. But Tony Romo's greatest victory? It may not be the touchdowns or Pro Bowls, it's the transformation. From overlooked recruit to star quarterback. From injury-prone veteran to voice of the game. From scapegoat to beloved storyteller. He never won a Super Bowl. But maybe that was never the point. Because the legacy of Tony Romo isn't about the rings. It's about refusing to give up when the world tells you you're done. It's about redefining yourself, again and again. It's about believing when no one else does. Romo taught us that greatness isn't always about how high you rise, it's how deep you're willing to dig. And sometimes, your most meaningful chapter begins after the final whistle.